Dear friends from the nation, I welcome you as Hezron Evans and IMYM to the journey through the scriptures, and we thank Yahweh to where we have reached. We have come all the way from the book of, maybe by the numbers and by the names I may pronounce them in English, and later they try to pronounce them in Hebrew or in Hebrew, from Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy, Joshua, and also the book of 1 Samuel, 2 Samuel, and we have 1 Kings, 2 Kings, the book of Yeshaya, Jeremiah, and once again in the book of Ezekiel. All the way by the names of Hebrews, Bereshit, Shemot, Vaikra, the Midbal, the Varim, we have Yeshua, we have Aref, Shemuel, Bai Shemuel, Aref, Merakim, Bais, Merakim, we have Yeshaya, we have Jeremiah, and again we are in the book of Ezekiel. And now we are in the book of Daniel. Welcome back to Injili ya milele ya Yahshua Messiah. Barukata Yahweh Elohim Meleka Olam El Elyon El Shaddai, Yahweh Shammah, Yahweh Yile, Yahweh Ebenezer, Yahweh Shalom. Baruch Hashem Yahweh, Hoshana Bamlomim, Avinu Shabashamayim Yitzkadesh Yomcha, Avinu Shabashamayim Yitzkadesh Yomcha Tavo Markotka. Ani Hezron Evans name me order Hakirotka Shema Israel, Yahweh Elohinu, Yahweh Echad. Welcome back again. I'll be your host, Hezron Evans, to the journey through the scriptures, Injili ya milele ya Yahshua Messiah, and also as well as the Messianic Daval Show. Make sure you subscribe, you comment, and also don't forget to share. And also may Yahweh do you good as you continue to support us. We are in another episode of the book of Daniel, and we are in the book of Daniel chapter number 1. Daniel chapter number 1. In the third year of the reign of Joachim, sovereign of Yehuda, Nebuchadnezzar, sovereign of Babel, came to Jerusalem and besieged it, and Yahweh gave Joachim, sovereign of Yehuda, into his hand, with some of the utensils of the house of Elohim, which he brought into the land of Shinar, to the house of his mighty one. And he brought the utensils into the treasure, into the house of his mighty one. And the sovereign of said to Ashpenaz, the chief of the eunuchs, to bring some of the children of Israel, some of the sovereign's descendants, some of the nobles, young men to whom there was no blemish, a good looking, having insight and wisdom, having knowledge and understanding, knowledge capable to stand in the sovereign's palace and to teach them in the writings and speech of the Chaldeans. And the sovereign appointed for them daily a ration of the sovereign food and of the wine which he drank, 3 years of training for them, so that the end thereof they should stand before the sovereign. Now among them were the sons of Yehuda, Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah. The chief of the eunuchs gave them the names for he called Daniel Belshazzar, and Hananiah Shadrach, and Mishael Meshach, and also Azariah Abednego. But Daniel laid it in his heart that he would not defile himself with a portion of the sovereign's food, nor with the wines which he drank. So he asked of the chief of the eunuchs not to defile himself. And Elohim granted Daniel kindness and compassion from the chief of the eunuchs. But the chief of the eunuchs said to Daniel, I fear my master, the sovereign, who has appointed your food and drink. For why should he see your face looking worse than the young men who are with you, who are at your age? Then you will make my head guilty before the sovereign. And Daniel said to the overseer, who the chief of the eunuchs had put over Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, please try your servant for 10 days, and let them give us vegetables to eat and waters to drink. Then let our appearance be examined before you, and the appearances of the young men, to eat the portion of the sovereign's food, and to do with your servants as you see fit. And he reasoned to them in the matter and he tried them 10 days, and the end of the 10 days, the appearance looked better than the fatter in flesh, and than all the young men who ate their portion of the sovereign sword. And it came to be that the overseer took away their portion of food and the wine they were to drink, and gave them vegetables. For as for these 4 young men, Elohim gave them knowledge and skill in learning, and wisdom, and Daniel understanding in visions and dreams. And at the end of the days, when the sovereign has said, and they should be brought in, the chief for the eunuchs brought them in before Nebuchadnezzar, and the sovereign spoke with them, and none among them all who found like Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah. So they stood before the sovereign. And in a word of which an understanding about the sovereign examined them, and they found them 10 times better than all the magicians, the astrologers who were in all the reign. And Daniel continued until the first year of the sovereign of Koresh. Daniel chapter number 2, according to Hallelujah scriptures, in the word of where it says, and in the second year of the reign of Nebuchadnezzar, Nebuchadnezzar had dreams, and his spirit was troubled, and that his sleep left him. And the sovereign gave orders to call the magicians and the astrologers and the practitioners in witchcraft, and the case they to declare to the sovereign his dreams, so that they came and stood before the sovereign. And the sovereign said to them, I have had a dream, and my spirit is troubled to know the dream. And the Castilites spoke to the sovereign in Aramaic, O sovereign, live forever. Relate the dream to your servant, and we shall reveal the interpretation. And sovereign answered and said to the Castite, my decision is firm. And if you do not make known the dream and its interpretation to me, your dream shall be taken from you, and your houses made dunghills. But if you reveal the dream and its interpretation, you shall receive the gifts and rewards and great esteem from me. So reveal to me the dream and its interpretation. They answered again and said, let the sovereign relate to his servant the dream, and we shall reveal its interpretation. The sovereign answered and said, I know for a certain that you will gain time, because you see that my decision is firm. And if you do not make it known dream to me, there is only one decree for you. You have agreed to speak lying and corrupt words before me till the time has changed. So relate to me the dream to me, then I shall know that you shall reveal its interpretation for me. The Castilites answered the sovereign and said, there is no one on earth, and who is able to reveal the matter to the sovereign, because no sovereign master or ruler or ever has asked a matter like this, or any magician or astrologer or Castilites. And the matter that the sovereign is asking difficult, and there is no other who is able to reveal it is to the sovereign except the mighty ones who is dwelling in not with the flesh. Because of this the sovereign was enraged and wroth, and gave orders to destroy all the wise ones of Babel. So the decree went out, and they began to kill the wise ones, and they sought Daniel and his companions to kill them. Then with the counsel and wisdom, and Daniel answered Arioch with the chief of the sovereign's guard, and he gone out to kill the wise ones of Babel. And he answered and said, Arioch, the sovereign's officer, why is the decree from the sovereign so urgent? So Arioch made the decision made to Daniel. And Daniel went in and asked the sovereign to give him a time, and he would show the sovereign the interpretation. Then Daniel went into his house and made the decision known to Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah and his companions, and to seek compassion from Elah and from the IMYM, and concerning this secret, so that Daniel and his companions should not perish with the rest of the wise ones of Babel. Then the secret was revealed to Daniel in night in vision, and Daniel Barak the Erah of Shamayim. Daniel responded and said, Baruch be the name of Erah, forever and ever, for wisdom and might are his, and he changes times and the seasons, and removes sovereigns and raises sovereigns, and he gives wisdom to the wise and knowledge to those who possesses understanding. He reveals dreams and secret matters, and he knows what is the darkness, and light dwells with him. And I thank you, O Elah, of my fathers. You have given me wisdom and might, and have made me to me that what we ask for you, and for you have made known unto us, sovereign, the matter. So Daniel went to Arioch, whom the sovereign and appointed to destroy the wise one of Babel, he went and said he said this to him, do not destroy the wise ones of Babel, bring me before the sovereign, and I shall show the interpretation of the sovereign. Then Arioch brought Daniel and Ahari before the sovereign and said thus to him, I have found a man among the sons of the exile from Yehuda who makes known to the sovereign the interpretation. The sovereign answered and said to Daniel, whose name was Belshazzar, are you able to make known to me the dream which I have seen and its interpretation? And Daniel answered before the sovereign and said, the secret which the sovereign is asking the wise ones and the astrologers and the magicians and the diviners are unable to show it to the sovereign. But there is an Elah in the Shamayim who reveals the secrets, and he has made known to the sovereign Nebuchadnezzar what is to be later days. Your dream and the visions of your head upon your bed were this, and as you are so sovereign on your bed, and your thoughts came up, and what was going to take place after this, and he reveals the secret and made known to what it shall be. As for me, this secret has not been revealed to me because I have more wisdom than anyone living, but for our sakes who make known the interpretation to the sovereign, and that you should know that the thoughts of your heart. You, O sovereign, you are looking, and you saw a great image, and the great image and the brightness excellent was standing before you, and its form was awesome, and this image head was of fine gold, and its chest as arms of silver, and abdomen and thighs of bronze, and its legs of iron, its feet partly of iron and partly of clay. You are looking on until the stone was cut without the hands, and it smote the image on its feet on the iron and clay, and broke them in pieces. Then the iron, the clay, and the bronze, the silver, and the gold were crushed together, and they became like a chaff from the summer, dashing frost, and the wind took them away, so that no rest of them was found. And the stone that smote the image became the great mountain and filled the earth. And this is the dream and its interpretation we clear before the sovereign. You, O sovereign, you are a sovereign of the sovereigns, for the Elah of the Shammai has given you a reign, power, strength, and esteem. And wherever the children of man dwell, and of the beast of the field, of the birds of the Shamayim, and he has given into your hand, and has made the ruler of them all. You are the head of the gold, and you are raises up another ring lower than yours, and another that ring of bronze. The rulers of all the earth, and the fourth ring as strong as iron, because iron crushes and shatters all. So like the iron that breaks in pieces, it crushes and breaks all this. Yet as you saw the feet of toes and partly of potters of clay, and partly of iron, the line is to be divided, but some of the strength of the iron is to be in it, because you saw the iron mixed with muddy clay. And as for the toes of the feet were partially of iron and partly clay, so that the rain is partially strong and partly brittle. And as you saw the iron mixed with muddy clay, they are mixing themselves with the seed of the men, but they are not clinging to each other, even as the iron does not mix with clay. And in these days the sovereigns of the Elah of the Shamayim shall appoint a lane which shall never be destroyed, nor the rain shall not pass on other people. It crushes and puts to the end of all these rings, and shall be stand forever, because you saw that the stones was cut out of the mountain without the hands, and that it was crushed, it crushed the iron and the bronze and the clay and the silver and the gold, and the great Elah has made known to the sovereign what shall be after this. And the dream is true, and its interpretation is trustworthy. Then the sovereign Nebuchadnezzar fell on his face and did obeisance before Daniel, and gave orders to the present to him, and offering an instance. The sovereign answered to Daniel, says truly, Elah is the Elah of Elah king, the Adon, and the sovereigns, and the reveal of secrets. Since we are unable to reveal these secrets, then the sovereign made Daniel great, and gave many great gifts, and made him ruler over all the province of the Babel, of the chief of the nobles, and over all the wise ones of Babel. And Daniel asked for the sovereign, and appointed Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego over the work of the province of Babel, and Daniel in the gates of the sovereign. Daniel chapter number 3, verse number 1. Nebuchadnezzar the sovereign made an image of gold, whose height was 60 armor, and its width 6 armor, and he put it on the plain of Dura, in the province of Babel. And the sovereign Nebuchadnezzar sent the word to gather together the viceroys, the nobles and the governors and the councillors and the treasurers and the judges and magistrates and all the officials of the provisions to come into the dedication of the image which the sovereign Nebuchadnezzar had set up. Then the viceroys and the nobles and the governors and the councillors and the treasurers, the judges and the magistrates and all the officials of the provinces gathered together for this dedication of the image of the sovereign Nebuchadnezzar, and put up, and they stood before the image of that Nebuchadnezzar had put up. Then a herald loudly proclaimed to you, it is commanded, O peoples of the nation and languages, that as soon as you hear the sound of the horn, the fruit of the zither, the lyre, and the harp, the pipes, and all kinds of instruments, that you shall fall down and do obeisance to the gold image that sovereign Nebuchadnezzar has put up. And whoever does not fall down and do obeisance is immediately thrown into the midst of a burning furnace of fire. And as soon, and all the people heard the sound of the horn, the fruit of the zither, and the lyre, and the harp, and all kinds of instruments, all the people of the nation and languages fall down and did obeisance to the gold image that sovereign Nebuchadnezzar had put. Thereupon, at that time, certain casdates came forward and accused the Yehudim. They spoke and said to the sovereign Nebuchadnezzar, O sovereign, live forever. You, O sovereign, have made a decree that everyone who hears the sound of the horn, the fruit of the zither, and the lyre, and the harp, and the pipes, and all the kinds of instruments shall fall down and do obeisance to the gold image. And whoever does not fall down and do obeisance is thrown into the midst of a burning furnace of fire. And there are certain Yehudim from you have appointed over the work of the promise of Babel, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. These men of sovereign pay no heed to you. They do not serve your mighty ones, and they are not doing obeisance to the gold image which you have put up. Then Nebuchadnezzar, in the rage and wrath, gave orders to bring Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. And then they brought these men before the sovereign. Nebuchadnezzar spoke and said to them, Is it true, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, that you do not serve my mighty ones, and you do not obeisance to the gold image which I have put up? Now, if you are ready, when you hear the sound of the horn, the fruit, and the zither, and the lyre, and the harp, and the pipes, and all kinds of the instruments, that you fall down and do obeisance to the golden image which I have made, we have made good. But if you do not do obeisance, you are immediately thrown into the midst of the furnace of fire. And who is the mighty one who delivers you from my hands? Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego answered and said to the sovereigns of Nebuchadnezzar, We have no need to answer you in this matter. For if so, your error whom you serve is able to deliver, our error who we serve is able to deliver us from the burning furnace of fire, and from your hand, O sovereign, he delivers. But if not, let it be known to you, O sovereign, that we do not serve your mighty ones, nor do we do obeisance to the gold image which you have put up. Then Nebuchadnezzar was filled with wrath, and the expression of his face changed towards Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. He responded and gave orders to the heat of the furnace 7 times more than it was usual to heat. And he commanded some of the strongest men of his army to bind Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego and thrown into the burning of furnace of fire. So these men were bound in their coats, their trousers, and their turbans, and their other garments, and they thrown into the midst of the burning furnace of fire. Thereupon, because the sovereign's order was urgent, and the furnace exceedingly hot, the flame of the fire killed those men who took Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. And these 3 men, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, fell down and bound amidst of the furnace of fire. Then sovereign Nebuchadnezzar was amazed and stood and hissed and spoke and said to his counselors, Did we not throw 3 men bound into the midst of the fire? They answered and said to the sovereign, Certainly, O sovereign. He answered and said, Look, I see 4 men, rose walking in the midst of the fire, and they are not hurt, and the form of the fourth is like the bane of a lamb. Then Nebuchadnezzar went near to the mouth of the burning furnace of fire, and he spoke and said to Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, Servants of the Most High Allah, come out. And came out. The Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego came from the midst of the fire. And the viceroys and the nobles and the governors and the sovereigns of the council gathered together, seeing these men of whose bodies the fire had no power, and their head was not singed, nor were their garments changed, nor did the smell of the fire came upon them. Nebuchadnezzar responded and said, Baruch be the error of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, who sent his messenger and delivered his servants who trusted in him, and changed the sovereign's order and gave up their bodies, that they should not serve nor do obeisance to any mighty no one except the Yerah, Therefore, I make a decree that whoever of any people of nation or language who speaks any wickedness against the law of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, his dream shall be taken off his home house and made a dunghill, because there is no other Elah who is able to deliver like this. Then the sovereign promoted Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in the province of Babel. The book of Daniel, chapter number 4, verse number 1. Nebuchadnezzar, sovereign of all peoples, nations, and languages that dwell in the earth, peace be increased to you. I thought good to declare that the signs of the wonders which the Most Elah has worked for me, how great are his signs and how mighty his wonders, and his reign is everlasting reign, and his rulership from generations to generation. Nebuchadnezzar was at rest in my house and prospering in my palace. I saw a dream and affrighted me in the thoughts of my bed, and the visions of my head alarmed me, and I issued a decree to bring me and all the wise ones of the Bible before me, who known to me the interpretation of the dream. So the magicians, the astrologers, the casters, and the diviners came in and related the dream to them, but the interpretation they did not make it to them, to me. And at last Daniel, whose name was Belshazzar, according to the name of my mighty one, came before me in the rock of Kodesh, Era. And so I related the dream to him, saying, Belshazzar, the chief of the magicians, because I know that the work of the Kodesh Elah is in you, and no secret is too difficult for you. Explain to me the visions of my dream that I have seen, and its interpretation of the visions on my head, on my bed, were these. I looked and saw a tree in the midst of the earth, and its height great, and the tree became great and strong, and its height reached to the Shamaim, and is visible to the ends of the earth. Its leaves were lovely, and its fruit plenty, and its watch was food for all. The beasts of the field found shade under it, and the birds of the Shamaim dwelt in its branches, and all was fed from it. In the visions of my head on my bed I looked, and I saw a watcher, even Kodeshi, coming down from the Shamaim. He cried out and said, hew down the tree and cut off its branches, strip its leaves and scatter its fruits, and let the beasts of free from under it, and the birds from its branches, but leave the stump of its roots in the earth, even a band of iron and bronze in the tender grass in the field, and let be wet with the dew of the Shamaim. Then his portion be the beast of the grass on the earth. Let his heart be changed from man's, and let him be given the heart of the beast, and 7 times to pass over to him. This matter is by the decree of the watchers and the command of the word of the Kodeshim, so that the living know that the Most High is ruler of the laying of the men. It gives whoever he wants the appoints over, and to the rest of the men the dream I have seen. I, sovereign Nebuchadnezzar, and you, Belshazzar, reveal its interpretation, since all the wise ones of my laying are unable to make known to me interpretation, but you are able, for the work of the Kodesha Elah is in you. Then Daniel, whose name was Belteshazzar, was stunned for a short time, and his thoughts alarmed him, and the sovereign responded and said, Belshazzar, do not let the dream or its interpretation alarm you. Belshazzar answered and said, my master, the dream is to those who hate you, and in the interpretation to your enemies. The tree you saw, which became greatly and strong, whose height reached to the Shamaim, and was visible to all the earth, whose leaves was lovely, and its fruit plenty, and it was food for all, under which in all the beasts of the field dwelt, and on whose branches the birds of the Shamaim sat. And on you, sovereign of you, have become great and strong, and your greatness and grown, and has reached to the Shamaim, and your rulership to the end of the earth. And sovereign, you saw a watcher even to Kodeshi coming down from the Shamaim, and he said, hew down into the tree and destroy it, but leave the stump and its roots in earth, even to the band of iron and bronze in the tender grass in the field, and let it be wet and with the dew of the Shamaim. Let his portion be with the beasts of the field, to the 7 times passes over him. This is the interpretation of sovereign, and this is the decree of the Most High, which has come upon my master the sovereign, that they are going to be driven away from men, and your dwelling be with the beasts of the field, and you will be given grass to eat like oxen, and you will be wetted with the dew of the Shamaim, and 7 times pass over you, till you know that the Most High ruler is the laying of men, and that he gives it to whomever he wants. And then that gave the command to reap the stump of roots, and the decree of your reign remains yours from the time to come, to know that the Shamaim is ruling. Therefore, O sovereign, let my counsel be acceptable to you, and break off your sins, and by righteousness and your wickedness, by showing the favor to the poor, your prosperity mix might be extended. And this time upon the sovereign Nebuchadnezzar, at the end of the 12 months, he was walking about the palace of Babel, and the sovereign spoke and said, Is it not this Babel which I myself have built for the house of the king, in my might and my power, of the esteem and my splendor? The word was still in the sovereign's mouth when a voice fell from the Shaman. Sovereign Nebuchadnezzar said to him, It is spoken, the land has been taken away from you, and you are driven away from men, and your dwelling place to be with the beasts of the field, for you are given grass to eat like oxen, for 7 seasons shall pass over you, until you know that the Most High is the ruler of the land of the men, and he gives it to whomever he wants. In the horn, and in that hour, the word was executed on Nebuchadnezzar, and he was driven from men, and he ate grass like oxen, and body was wet with the dew of the Shamaim, and his hair had grown like the eagles, and nails like the nails of the birds. And at the end of the day, he said, Nebuchadnezzar lifted up my eyes to the Shamaim, and my understanding returned to me, and I barak the Most High, and praised and made him great, who lives ever forever, whose rule is everlasting rule, and his reign is from generation to generation, and all inhabitants of the earth are for our account. And he does, and he wants with the host of the Shamaim, and among the inhabitants of the earth, and there is none like to strike against his son and say to him, What have you done? At the same time, at my understanding returned to me, and for my esteem, my reign, and my esteem, the splendor were returning to me, and my counselors and nobles sought out, and I was established into my reign, and I excellent greatness, and added to me now Nebuchadnezzar, praising and exalting the esteem and sovereign of the Samaim for all his works, all truth, and his ways right, and those who walk in pride, he is to humble them. The book of Daniel chapter number 5 verse number 1 says, Belshazzar the sovereign made a great feast for 1,000 of his great men, and drank wine in the presence of the 1,000. While tasting the wine, Belshazzar gave orders to bring the gold of silver, the vessels which his father Nebuchadnezzar taken from the Hekal which had been in Jerusalem, and the sovereign and his great men, his wives and his concubines, being from them, and they brought the gold vessels that had been taken from the Hekal of the house of Elah, which had been in the Jerusalem, and the sovereign and his great men, his wives and his concubines, drank out of them, and drank wine, and praised the mighty ones of gold and of silver and of bronze and of iron and of wood and of stone. In that moment the fingers of a man hand appeared and wrote opposite the lampstand of the plaster of the wall, and the sovereign Paris, and the sovereign saw the part of the hand that wrote. Then the sovereign color changed, and his thoughts alarmed, and saw that the joints of his hips were loosened, and his knees knocked against each other. The sovereign called loudly, and bring in the astrologers and the Chaldeans and the diviners and the sovereigns, and spoke and said to the wise ones of Babel, that whoever reads the writing and shows me interpretation is robed with purple, and a chain of gold round his neck, and shall be a third ruler in his reign. So all the sovereign's wise ones came, and they were unable to read in writing or to make it known interpretation to the sovereign. So when Belshazzar was greatly alarmed, and his color was changed, and his great men were opposed on the sovereigns because of the words of the sovereign, and his great men came to the banquet hall, and the sovereign spoke and said, O sovereign, live forever, do not let your thoughts alarm, nor let your color change. There is a man of your reign in whom the work of Yahweh, of the Kodesh of Elah, is in the days of your father, light and understanding and wisdom, like the wisdom of the mighty ones who are found in him. And sovereign Nebuchadnezzar the father, your father, and the sovereign had made him the chief, the magicians, astrologers, Chaldeans, and diviners, because of his excellent spirit, unknown knowledge, understanding, interpreting dreams, and explaining the riddles and solving difficult problems, were found in this Daniel, whom the sovereign named Belshazzar. Now let Daniel be called, and let him show the interpretation. So Daniel was brought in before the sovereign. The sovereign had spoken and said to Daniel, Are you Daniel, who is one of the sons of the exile from Yehuda, whom my father the sovereign brought you from Yehuda? And I have heard that you have work of Elah in you, and that you are right in understanding and excellent in wisdom and found in you. And the wise ones and astrologers had been brought in before me, that I should read this writing and make known to me the interpretation, but they are unable to show the interpretation of the word. And I myself have heard of you, that you are able to give interpretation to solve difficult problems. And now if you are able to read the writing and make it interpretation known to me, you are to be robed in purple, and you have a chain of gold in your neck, and shall be that ruler in my reign. Then Daniel answered and said before the sovereign, let the gifts be for yourself, and give your rewards to another. Yet I shall read the writing to the sovereign, and make it known to the interpretation to him. O sovereign, the most high Allah, give Nebuchadnezzar your father a reign of greatness and esteem and honor. And because of the greatness of which he had given to all the peoples and nations, languages, trembled and feared before him. Whomever he wanted and executed, and whomever he wanted he kept alive, and whomever he wanted he rose, and whomever he wanted he made draw. But when his heart was lifted up and his spirit was strong, and to act proudly, he was put down from his throne reign, and from took his esteem from him, and he was from the sons of men, and his heart was made like the beast, and his dwelling place was with the wild donkeys, and he was given grass like the oxen, and his body was... Shalom once again, dear brethren and dear brothers from the whole world. I welcome you as Eslon Evans, and from Nairobi, Kenya, to the journey through the scriptures. So feel much welcomed as we continue reading the book of Yahweh from Genesis to Revelation. Now I'll begin from where we stopped, and I'll continue to where our Father Yahweh wants us to reach. In the book of Daniel, chapter number 5, verse number 18. O sovereign, the most high Allah, give Nebuchadnezzar your father reign, and greatness and esteem and honor. And because of the greatness which he gave him, all the peoples of the nation and the languages trembled and feared before him. He wanted, he executed, and whoever he wanted, he kept alive. And whoever he wanted, he raised up, and whomever he wanted, he made low. But when his heart was lifted up, and his spirit was so wrong to act proudly, he was put down from his throne and reign, and they took his esteem from him, and he was driven from the sons of men, and his heart was made like the beast, and his dwelling was with the wild donkeys, and he was given grass like to eat like oxen, and his body was wet with the dew of the IMYM, till he knew that the Most Allah is ruler ruler of men, and he appoints over to whomever he wants. And you, his son Belshazzar, have not humbled your heart, although you knew all this, and you have lifted yourself IMYM, and have brought before you the vessels of the house, and you and your great men, your wives and your concubines, have been drinking wine from them, and you have raised the mighty ones of silver, of gold, and of bronze, and of iron, of wood, and of stone, which neither see nor hear, no. But the Allah who holds your breath in his hand and owns all your ways, you have made great. Then the part of the hand was sent from him, and this is the writing was inscribed, and this is the writing that was inscribed, Mene Mene Tekel Upharsin. This is the interpretation of each word. Mene, Allah has numbered your reign and put an end to it. Tekel, you have been weighed on the scales and found lacking. Perez, your reign has been divided and given to the Midianites and Persians. Then Belshazzar gave orders, and they robed Daniel in purple and put a chain of gold around his neck. They proclaimed concerning him that he is the third ruler in the line. In that night Belshazzar, sovereign of the Kashites, was slain, and the Reveresh, the Madite, took over the reign, being about 62 years old. Daniel chapter number 6, verse number 1. It pleased then the Reveresh to appoint over the reign 120 viceroys to be over all the reign, and over them 3 governors, of whom Daniel was one, so that these viceroys should give account to them. And the sovereign suffered no loss. Then this Daniel distinguished himself above the governors and viceroys, because of the excellent spirit was in him. And the sovereign planned to appoint him over all the reign. Then the governors and the viceroys sought to find occasion against Daniel concerning the reign, but they were unable to find occasion of corruption, because he was steadfast, and no grains of corruption was found in him. Then these men said, we shall not find any occasion against this Daniel, unless we find it against his concerning the law of his era. Then these governors and viceroys tumultuously gathered before the sovereign, and it is to him, sovereign, Darius live forever. And all the governors of the reign, the nobles and viceroys, and the counselors and the advisors have consulted together to establish a royal decree and to make a strong edict that whoever petitions any mighty one or man for 30 days except you, O sovereign, is thrown into the den of lions. Now, O sovereign, establish an interdict and sign the writing, so that is not changed according to the law of the Madites and the Persians, which does not pass away. So sovereign Darius signed the writing interdict, and Daniel, when he knew that the writing was signed, went home in his upper room with his windows open toward Jerusalem. He knelt down on his knees 3 times a day, and he prayed and gave thanks before his era, and he had done before. Then these men tumultuously gathered and found Daniel praying and entreating before his era. Then they approached the sovereign and spoke concerning the sovereign's interdict. Have you not signed the interdict, that every man who petitions any mighty one or a man within 30 days, except you, sovereign, is thrown into the den of lions? The sovereign answered and said, the word is certain according to the law of the Madites and Persians, which does not pass away. Then he answered and said before the sovereign, Daniel, who is one of the sons of the exile from Yehuda, pays no heed to you, O sovereign, nor for the interdict that you have signed, but he makes his petition 3 times a day. Then the sovereign, when he heard these words, was greatly displeased with himself, and laid his heart on heart that Daniel to deliver him. And he labored till going down of the sun to deliver him. Then this men modestly gathered before the sovereign and said to the sovereign, Know, O sovereign, that is the law of the Madites and the Persians, that any interdict or decree which the sovereign establishes is not to be changed. Then the sovereign gave orders, and they brought Daniel and threw him into the den of lions. But the sovereign spoke and said to Daniel, Your era whom you have served continually, he himself delivers you. And a stone was brought and laid on the mouth of the den, and the sovereign sealed it with his own signet and with the signets of his great men, that the situation concerning Daniel might not be changed. And the sovereign went to his palace and spent the night fasting, and no entertainment was brought before him, and his sleep was fled from him. Then the sovereign rose up very early in the morning, and hurried to the dens of lions. And when he came to the den, he called with a grieved voice to Daniel. The sovereign spoke and said to Daniel, Daniel, servant of the living era, has your era whom you serve continually being able to deliver you from the lions? Then Daniel said to the sovereign, O sovereign, lives forever. My Allah has sent his messenger, and has shut the lions' mouths, and they did not harm me, because I was found innocent before him, and also before you, O sovereign, have I done no harm. Then the sovereign was very glad, and gave orders that Daniel to be taken up out of the den. And Daniel was taken up out of the den, and no harm was found in him, because he trusted in his era. And the sovereign gave orders, and they brought those men who had accused Daniel, and they threw them, their children, their wives, into the dens of lions, and the lions overpowered them, and broke all their bones in pieces before they reached even to the floor of the den. The sovereign Darius wrote to all the peoples, nations, and languages that dwell in earth, peace be inscribed to you. From before me is made a decree that throughout every rule of my reign, men are to tremble and fear before the law of Daniel, for he is the living Allah, and steadfast forever, and his reign is one which is not destroyed, and his rule unto the end. He delivers and rescues, and he works the signs and wonders in the IMYM on the earth, for he has delivered Daniel from the power of the lions, and Daniel prospered in the line of Darius, and in the line of Koresh the Persian. Daniel chapter number 7 verse number 1, according to Hallelujah scriptures. In the first year of Belshazzar, sovereign of Babel, Daniel had a dream and visions of his head or in his bed. Then he wrote down the dream, giving a summary of the matters. Daniel spoke and said, I was looking in my vision by night, and saw the 4 winds of the IMYM stirring up the great sea, and 4 great beasts came up from the sea, different from one another. And the first was like a lion, and it had eagle's wings, and was like rocking until its wings were plucked off. And it was lifted up to the earth, and made it to stand on 2 feet like a man. And it was given a man's heart, and see another beast, a second like a bear. And it was raised up on one side, and I had 3 ribs in its mouth, between its teeth. And they said to this, to it, rise, devour much flesh. And after this I looked, and saw another like a leopard, which had on its back 4 wings of a bird. The beast also had 4 heads, and rule was given to it. And after this I looked in the night visions, and I saw the 4th beast, fearsome and burly, exceedingly strong, and it had a great iron teeth. It devoured and crushed and trampled down the rest which with its feet, and it was different from all the beasts that were before it, and it had 10 horns. I was thinking about the horns, then they saw another horn, a little one, coming up among them, and 3 of the first horns were plucked out by the roots before it. And see, the eyes of a man were in this horn, and a mouth speaking greatness. I was looking until those who were priests, and the Ancient of Days was seated. His garment was white as snow, and the hair of his head was like green wool. His throne was flameless of fire, its wheels burning fire. A stream of fire was flowing and coming forth from his presence, and thousands served him, and 10,000 times and 10 times thousands stood before him. The judge was seated, and the books were opened. And I was looking then, because of the sound of the great words which the horn was speaking. I was looking until the beast was slain, and its body destroyed and given to the burning fire. And the rest of the beast had their rule taken away, but lengthening of life was given to them for a season and a time. And I was looking in the night visions, and saw one like the bane of Enosh, and coming with the crowds of the IMYM, and he came in the Ancient of Days, and they brought him near before him. And him was given the rulership, the esteem, and the line that all the people's nation languages should serve him. His rule is an everlasting rule, which shall not pass away, and his reign that which shall not be destroyed. As for me, Daniel, my spirit was pierced within my body, and the visions of my head alarmed me. I drew near to the one of those who stood by, and asked him that certainly of all things. And he spoke to me, and made known to me the interpretation of the matters. This great beast, which are four the sovereigns which arise from the earth. Then the Kodeshim of the Most High shall receive the reign, and possess the reign forever, even forever and ever. Then I decided for certainly concerning the 4th beast, which was different from all the others, very fearsome, with its iron teeth of iron, and its nails of bronze, which devoured, crushed, and trampled down the rest with its feet. And concerning the 10 horns that were on its head, and on that were on its head, and on the other that came up, before which 3 fell, and this one which had eyes, and a mouth which spoke greatness, whose appearance was greater than his fellows. And I was looking, and this horn was fighting against the Kodeshim, and was prevailing against them, until the Ancient of Days came, and right ruling was given to the Kodeshim of the Most High. And the time came, and the Kodeshim took possession of the land. This is what he said: the 4th beast is the 4th laying on the earth, which is different from all the layings, and it devours all the earth, tramples it down, and crushes it. Then the 10 horns are 10 sovereigns from his reign. They shall rise, and another then shall arise after them, and it is different from the first one, and it humbles 3 sovereigns, and it speaks words against the Most High, and it weighs out the Kodeshim of the Most High, and it intends to change appointed times and laws, and they are given into its hand for a time and times and a half of time. But judgment shall sit, and they shall take away its rule, and cut off, then destroy it until the end. And the reign and the rulership of the greatness of the reigns under all the IMYM shall be given to the people, the Kodeshim of the Most High. His reign is an everlasting reign, and the rulership shall serve and obey him. This is the end of the matter. As for me, Daniel, my thoughts was greatly alarmed me, and my color changed, and I kept the matter in my heart. Daniel chapter number 8, verse number 1, according to Hallelujah Scriptures. In the 3rd year of the reign of Belshazzar, the sovereign, a vision appeared to me, Daniel, after the one that appeared to me the first. And I looked in the vision, and it came to be while I was looking, that I was in the citadel of Shushan, which is in the province of Elam. And I looked in the vision, I was by the river Olai, and I lifted my eyes and looked and saw a lamb standing beside the river, and it had 2 horns, and the 2 horns were high, and the one was higher than the other, and the higher came upwards, and I saw the lamb pushing westward and northward and southward, and so that no beast could stand before him, and there was no deliverer from his hand, while he did as he pleased and became great. And I was observing and saw a male goat came from the west over the surface of all the earth without touching the ground, and the goat a conspicuous horn between his eyes, and he came to the lamb that had 2 horns, which had him standing beside the river, and the lamb at him in the edge of his power. And I saw him close to the lamb, and he bittered and against him, and smote the lamb, and broke his 2 horns, and there was no power in the lamb to withstand him. But he threw him down to the ground and trampled on him, and there was no deliverer to the lamb from his hand. And the male goat became very great, but when he was strong, but large horn was broken and in pieces in 4 conspicuous ones came up toward the 4 winds of the Shamayim, and from one of that came to the little horn, which became exceedingly toward the south, and toward to the east, and toward to the splendid land, and it became great up to the host of the Shamayim, and it caused some of the hosts and some of the stars to fall to the earth, and trampled them down. It even exalted itself as high as the prince of the host, and it took that which is continue away from him, and threw down the foundation of his Mikdash. And because of the transgression, an army was given over to oppose that which is continue, and it drew the truth down to the ground, and it acted and prospered. Then I heard a certain Kodeshi speaking, and another Kodeshi said to that certain one who was speaking, till when is the vision concerning that which is continuing, the transgression that raised ways to make both the Kodesh priest and the host to be trampled under the foot? And he said to me, 42,300 evening, morning, then that which is Kodesha shall be made right. And it came to be, when I, Daniel, and I see in the vision, I sought understanding, and see before me stood one having the appearance of a mighty man, and I heard a man's voice between Uriah, who called, said, Gabriel, make this man understand the vision. He then came near where I stood, and when he came I feared, and I fell on my face, but he said to me, understand, son of man, for the vision is for the time of the end. And he as was speaking with me, I fell, stand upon my face to the ground, but he touched me and stood me up straight, and said, look, I'm making you know on what shall take place in the later time of the wrath of the appointed time shall be the end. The lamb which you saw having 2 horns are the sovereigns of Madai and Paras, and male goat is the sovereign of Yawan. And the large horn between his eyes is the first sovereign, and that is was broken, and 4 stood up in his place. All 4 worship arising out of that nation, but it's not its power. And in the later time they are lulled, when the transgressors have filled their measure, and the sovereign feast of faith and of skilled and at intriguers shall stand up. His power shall be mighty, but not by his own power. And he shall destroy incredibly, and shall prosper and drive and destroy mighty men and the Kodesh people, and through his skill he shall make the deceit prosper in his hand, and hold himself to be great in his heart, and destroy men who are at ease, and even stand against the prince of princes, yet without hand he shall be broken. And what was said in the vision of the evenings and of the mornings in truth is truth, and hide the vision, for it is after many days. And I, Daniel, was stricken and became sick 4 days. Then I rose up and went about the sovereign's work, and I was amazed at the vision, but there was no understanding. Daniel chapter number 9, verse number 1. In the first year of Dariawash, the son of Ahasuerus, of the seed of the Medians, who was appointed as the sovereign over the line of the Cashdites in the first year of his reign, I, Daniel, observed from the scriptures the number of the years, according to the word of Yahweh given to Jeremiah the Nabi. For the completion of the waste of Jerusalem would be 70 years. So I turned my face toward Yahweh, the Elohim or to seek by prayer and supplication with fasting and sackcloth and ashes. And I prayed to Yahweh my Elohim and made confession and said, O Yahweh, great and awesome El, regarding guarding the covenant and the kindness to those who love him and to those who guard the commands. We have sinned and done wickedly and did wickedness and rebel and turned aside from your commands and from your right rulings. And we have not listened to your servants, the Nevi'im, who spoke in your name, to our sovereigns, all heads of our fathers, and to all the people of the lands. O Yahweh, to you is the righteousness, and to us is the shame of the face, as this day, to the men of Yehuda and to the inhabitants of Jerusalem and to all Israel, those near, those far off, and in the lands or to which you have driven them, because of their trespasses which they have transgressed against you. O Adonai, to us is the shame of the face of our sovereigns, and to our heads and to our fathers, because we have sinned against you. To Yahweh our Elohim are the compassions and forgiveness, for we have rebelled against him, and we have not obeyed the voice of Yahweh our Elohim to walk in his Torah, which he put before us through his servants the Nevi'im. And all Israel have transgressed your Torah and turned aside so as not to obey your voice. So the curse of the oath written in the Torah of Moshe, the servant of Elohim, has been poured out on us. For we have sinned against him, and he has confirmed his words which he spoke against us and against the rulers and judged us, and bringing upon us great evil. For under all the Shamayim there has not been done like what was done to Jerusalem. As it is written in the Torah of Moshe, all this evil has come upon us, and we have not entreated the face of Yahweh our Elohim to turn back from our wickedness and to study your truth. Hence Yahweh has waged over the evil and has brought it upon us. For Yahweh our Elohim is righteous in all the works which he has done, but we have not obeyed his voice. And now, O Yahweh our Elohim, who brought your people out of the land of Mizraim with a strong hand and made yourself a name as it is to this day, we have sinned, we have done wickedness. O Yahweh, according to all your righteousness, I pray, let your displeasure and your wrath be turned away from your city, Jerusalem, your Kodesh mountain. For because of our sins and because of the wickedness of our father Jerusalem and your people have become a reproach to all those around us. And now, Elohim, hear the prayer of your servant and these supplications and for the sake of Yahweh. Cause your face to shine on your Mikdash, which is laid waste. O my Elohim, incline your ear to hear, open your ears and see, open your eyes and see our waste in the city, which is called by your name. For we do not present our supplications before you because of the righteous deeds, but because of your great compassion. So Yahweh, hear. O Yahweh, forgive. O Yahweh, listen and act. Do not delay. For your own sake, my Elohim, for your city and your people are called by your name. And while I was speaking and praying and confessing my sin, that the sin of my people Israel, and presenting my supplication before Yahweh, my Elohim, for the Kodesh mountain of my Elohim, while I was still speaking in prayer, the man Gabriel, whom I had seen in the vision at the beginning, came close to me, and a swift fight about the time of the evening offering. And he made me understand and talk with me and said, O Daniel, I have come now forth to make you wise concerning understanding. At the beginning of your supplication a word went, and I have come to make it known, for you are greatly appreciated. So consider the word and understand the vision. 70 weeks I'll decree for your people and for your Kodesh city, to put an end to the transgression and to seal up the sin and to cover the wickedness and to bring in everlasting righteousness, to seal the vision and Nabi and anoint the most Kodesh. Know then and understand from the going forth of the command to restore and build Jerusalem until Messiah and the prince. In 7 weeks and 62 weeks it shall be built again, and with the streets and trench, but in times of affliction. And after the 62 weeks Mashiach shall be cut off and have not, and the people of coming, and a prince shall destroy the city of the Kodesh priest, and the end of it is flood, and waste are decreed, and fighting until the end. And he shall confirm a covenant with many for 1 week, and in the middle of the week he shall put an end of the slaughtering and the meal offering, and of the wing abomination he shall lay waste, even until the complete and that which is decreed is poured out, and the one who lays waste. Daniel chapter number 10, verse number 1. In the third year of Koresh, sovereign of Paras, the word was revealed to Daniel, whose name was called Belteshazzar, and the word was true, and the conflict of the great, and he understood the word, and he had understanding of the vision. In those days I, Daniel, was mourning 3 weeks of days, and I did not eat desirable food, and meat and wine did not come into my mouth, and I did not anoint myself at all. The completion of 3 weeks of days, and on the 24th day, and the first month, while I was by the side of the great river that is Hiddekel, then I lifted up my eyes and looked, and saw a certain man dressed in a linen, whose loins was guarded with gold of Uphaz. And his body was like beryl, and his face like the appearance of the lightning, and his eyes like touches of fire, and his arms and his feet like polished bronze in appearance, and all the sound, his words like the sounds of a crowd. And I, Daniel, alone saw the vision, for the men who were with me did not see the vision, but a great trembling fell upon them, and they ran away to hide themselves, so that I was left alone, and I saw this great vision, and no strength remained in me, for my comeliness was destroyed in me, and I retained no strength, but I heard the sound of his words. But while I heard the sound of his words, I was still lying with my face towards the ground. And see, and I had touched me and praised me, trembling on my knees and on the palms of my hands. And he said to me, O Daniel, man, greatly appreciate and understand the words that I speak to you, and stand upright, for I have now been sent to you. And while he was speaking this word to me, I stood trembling, and he said to me, do not fear, Daniel. From the first days that you lay your heart to understand and to humble yourself before your Elohim, your words were heard, and I have come because of your words. But the head of the ruler of Paras withstood me 21 days, and see, Michael, one of the chief of the heads, came to help me, for I have been left alone there with the sovereigns of Paras, and I have come to make you understand what is before your people in the later days, for the visions is yet 2 days to come. And when he had spoken such words to me, I turned my face towards the ground and kept silent. And see, one who looked like the sons of men touched my lips, and I opened my mouth and spoke and said to him, who stood before me, my master, because of the vision I have been seized with pains, and I have retained no strength. So now was this servant of my master able to speak? And you, my master, as for me, and my strength remains in me now, and in any breath left in me. And again, the one who looked like a man touched me and strengthened me, and he said, do not fear, O man, greatly appreciated. Peace be with you. Be strong now, be strong. So when he spoke to me, I was strengthened, and said, let my master speak, for you have strengthened me. And he said, do you know why I have come to you? And now return to fight with the head of the Paras. And when I have left, see, and the head of Yawan shall come, but let me declare to you what is written in the scriptures of truth. And there is no one supporting me against this except Michael, your head. Daniel chapter number 11, verse number 1. And in the first year of the Reresh, the Madite, I myself stood up and support and protect him. And now I declare the truth to you. See, 3 more sovereigns are to arise in Paras, and the fourth to become far richer than them all. And by his power, through his riches, he stirs up all against the worship of Yawan. And a mighty sovereign shall arise, and see, shall rule with a great authority, do as he pleases. But when he has arisen, and his rule shall be broken up and divided toward the 4 winds in Shamaim, but not among his descendants, not according to his authority which he ruled, because his rule shall be uprooted, even for others beside those. And a sovereign of the south shall become strong, and along one of the princes who gains power over him shall rule, and his rule being great and rule. And at the end of the years, they shall join themselves together, and a daughter of the sovereign of the south shall come to the sovereign of the north and make an alliance. But he shall not retain the strength of our power, nor would he or his power stand, and he shall be given up, and those who brought her, and he who brought her forth, and he who supported her in those times. But from a branch of a root one shall arise in his praise, and shall come into the defense, and to come in a stronghold of the sovereign of the north, and shall act against them, and shall prevail. And also their mighty ones with their princes and their precious utensils of silver and gold shall be seized and bring to Mizraim, and shall stand more years than the sovereign of the north. Then he shall enter the reign of the sovereign of the south, but shall return to his own land. But his sons shall stir themselves up and assemble a great army, and he shall certainly come and overthrow and pass through, then return to his stronghold and stirred up. It says, then the sovereign of the south shall be enraged and go out to fight with him, with the sovereign of the north, who shall rise a large army, but the army shall be given into the hands of his enemy. And he shall capture the army in his heart, being exalted, and he shall cause 10,000 to fall, but not prevail. And he shall capture the army, his heart being exalted, and he shall cause tens of thousands to fall, but not prevail. And the return and raise an army greater than the former, and certainly come at the end of some years with a great army and much surprise. And in those times many shall arise up against the sovereign of the south, while some violent ones among your people exalt themselves to establish the vision, but they shall stumble. Then the sovereign of the north shall come in and build the siege mound, and capture the city strongholds of the armies on the south, and shall not stand, nor his choice people, for there is no strength to stand. So his opponent shall do as he pleases, with no one standing against him, and stand in the splendid land with the destruction in his hand, and he shall turn his face to enter the strength of his entire rule, and make an alliance with him, and he shall do so, and give him a daughter of women to corrupt her, but she shall not stand, neither be for him. Then he shall turn his face to the coastlands, and capture many, but a ruler shall bring the reproach against them to an end, and with the reproach removed he shall turn back on them. Then he shall turn his face toward the strongholds on his own land, but he shall stumble and fall, and not be found. And in his praise one shall stand, one who imposes taxes of the honored reign, but within a few days he is destroyed, but not in wrath or in battle. And his praise shall arise and despise to one to whom they shall not give to the excellency of the Lord, but he shall come in the peaceably, and the says of the rule and the flatteries, and the armies and the flood shall be swept away from before him and be broken, and also the prince of the covenant, and after they joined him, he shall work deceit, and he shall come up and become strong, and with a small notion, and he shall enter peaceably, even into the richest places, even unto the promise, and do what his the fathers have not done, nor his forefathers distribute among the plunder and spoil and surprise and device, and dispersed against the strongholds, but only for a time. And he shall stir up his power, and his power he hath against the sovereign of the south with a great army, and the sovereigns of the south shall be stirred up to the battle with a very great and mighty army, but no stand, and those they shall devise the plots against him, and those who have been eating his food shall destroy him, and his army be swept away, and many fall down slain. And both of the sovereign's heart are to do evil, and speak rise at the same table, but not prosper at the end still of an appointed time. Then he shall turn to the land, which is the thence much surprised in the heart, and against to the Kodesh covenant. He shall act and shall return to its land, and the appointed time shall return to go toward the south, but he shall not be like the former of the later days. For ships of Kittim shall come against him, and he shall lose heart, and shall return in large against the Kodesh covenant, and shall act and shall return and consider those who forsake the Kodesh covenant, and a strong one shall arise from him and profane the Mikdash, the stronghold, and shall take away that which is continued, and praise abomination that raise waste. And by flatteries he shall profane those who do wickedness against the covenant. But the people who know the Elohim shall be strong and shall act, and those of the people who have insight that shall give understanding to many. They shall stumble by the sword and flame, and captivity and plundering for days. And when they stumble, they shall be helped, and a little help, but many shall join them by flatteries. And some of them who have insight shall stumble to refine them, and to cleanse them, and to make them white, until when the time of the end, for it is still an appointed time. The sovereign shall do as he praises and exalts himself, show himself to be great above every mighty one, and speak incredible matters against the earl of mighty ones, and shall prosper until the wrath has been accomplished for what he has been decreed that shall be done. And we have no regard for the mighty ones of the fathers, and for the desire for women, nor have regard any mighty one, but exalt himself above them all. But in his praise shall give esteem of a mighty one of strong tones, and a mighty of one of his fathers, and did not know that he shall give esteem of the gold and silver and precious stones and costly gifts. And he shall act against the strongest, the strongholds with the falling mighty one, which he shall acknowledge. He shall increase in esteem, and cause them to rule over many, and divide the land for gain. And at the time of the end, the sovereign of the south shall push at him, and the sovereign of the north land against him, like a whirlwind, with the chariots and the horsemen, and with the ships. And he shall enter the lands, and shall overflow and pass over, and shall enter the splendid land, and many shall stumble, but this escape from his land, Edom and Moab, and the chiefs of the sons of Ammon. He shall stretch out his hand against the lands, and the land of Mizraim shall not escape. And he shall rule over the treasures of gold, silver, and over all the riches of Mizraim, and Arabians and Cushites, and shall be at his steps. Then reports from the east and the north shall disband him, and shall go out with a great wrath to destroy, and put many under the ban. And he shall pitch the tents, and see the splendid Kadesh mountain, that shall come to his end, with none to help him. Daniel chapter number 12, and the last chapter of the book of this Nabi. Now that time Michael shall stand up, the great head, who is standing over the sons of your people, and there shall be a time of distress such as never was since there was a nation until that time. And at that time your people shall be delivered, every one who is found in the book, written in the book. And as for many, those who sleep in the dust of the earth shall wake up, some to everlasting high, and some to reproaches everlasting abhorrence. And to those who have been saved shall shine like the brightness to the expanse, and those who led many to righteousness like the stars forever and ever. But you, Daniel, hide the words and these and seal the book until the time of the end. Many shall diligently search, and knowledge shall increase. Then I, Daniel, looked, and saw two others standing, one in this bank of the river, and the other on the bank. And one said to the man dressed in linen, who was above the waters of the river, Now how long until the end of the end of these wonders? And I had a man dressed in linen, who was above the waters of the river. He who held in his right hand and his left hand to the Shamaim, and swore by him who lives forever, that it will be for an appointed times and a half. And when they have ended scattering the power of the Kodesh people, then all these shall be completed. And I heard, but I did not understand. So I said, my master, what is this that in the later days to happen? What is this later end of this? Then and he said, Go, Daniel, the words are hidden and sealed till the time of the end. Many shall be cleansed and made white and refined, but the wicked shall do wickedness, and none of the wicked shall understand, but those who have insight shall understand. And from the time that which is continued is taken away, and the abomination that traces is praised in thousands and hundreds and 99 days. Baruch is who is waiting earnestly, and comes to the 1,300 and the 50 days. But you go your way till and rest, and arise to your lot, and the end of the days. We have come back to the end of the book of Daniel, from chapter 1 to chapter number 12. Thanks our viewers. Thanks for watching. I've been your host, Ezron Evans, And we always say Todara Baba Yahweh and Yohevet Yashua Hamasha for wherever we are. The next